French President Emmanuel Macron signals that France may recognize a Palestinian state in June, possibly triggering the long-awaited confirmation of the covenant spoken of in Daniel 9:27. Pope Francis meets King Charles amid rumors that Cardinal Aveline, known for controversial theological views, may be the next pope, raising red flags about the church's shifting direction. And could the mingling of the global political leaders with the Vatican and the rise of universal religious dialogue be pointing us to Revelation 17's mystery Babylon? The prophetic puzzle pieces may be falling into place. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. It's Open Line Friday, so we're going to talk about whatever you want to. We're prioritizing our calls today, so give us a call at 877-ENDTIME if you want to be on the show and ask your question, 877-363-8463. We're going to need your help. We never know what y'all are going to bring up when you call in, so I can almost guarantee that it's going to be something that Facebook and YouTube and those type of places don't like. So this is where your help comes in handy. Share this video right now. Make sure you're engaging in the chat. A lot of people will get on there and say, stay on topic. And I'm like, no, we want you chatting in the chat. Talk about whatever you want in there. The timing of the rapture. Is it okay to be gay? Doug, we're okay if they talk about that stuff in the chat, right?
Whatever you say, Vince.
Hey, let's talk about it in the chat, and it's open line, so we'll talk about anything today on the air. 877-ENDTIME's the number to join us. Again, help us out by sharing, commenting, giving us a thumbs up or a heart wherever you're at. Before we get into the calls and into a few topics that we're going to introduce the show with, I want to remind you about the tariff situation. I saw that China's retaliated. They've upped their tariffs on the U.S. to 145%. I believe is what it is, or 125%, because the United States up there is 145%. So it's throwing the global economy into chaos for some, and potential widespread inflation tied to massive supply chain disruption is weighing heavily on all of us. But there is a silver lining that most people missed. President Donald Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from those sweeping tariffs. And while these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals. If you're concerned about your savings, I encourage you to have a free consultation with our friends at Birch Gold and their precious metals specialist. The first step is to go to birchgold.com/endtime, receive your free info kit. It's no obligation, just get information on gold and learn how you can hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of your pocket. So go to birchgold.com/endtime to claim your free info kit right now. All right, Doug, we stirred it up yesterday. We've been stirring it up the last few days, actually.
Yeah, we've talked about dire wolves and all kinds of good stuff.
Dire wolves, red heifers, the timing of the rapture.
Yeah.
And
lots to talk about.
It's all open for today. So, but one story that keeps getting sent in is this Emmanuel Macron thing. Yeah. We know there's a lot of end timers out there. They are all in on Emmanuel Macron being the Antichrist, as the Bible has prophesied is coming. They say he's the guy. Now, we're not announcing that today. We've never announced that. We've looked at Emmanuel Macron, whether he's the Antichrist or not, according to the characteristics laid out in Bible prophecy. And we're not willing to say he's not today, like we can for Donald Trump or Barack Obama. However, a lot of people are all in on Emmanuel Macron, and this story coming out doesn't help that at all.
Yeah. You just had to throw in Barack Obama, didn't you?
Well, since we're talking about anything, is Michelle? No, I won't go there. So, got to stop somewhere, Doug.
Yeah.
What do we need to know about this story?
This article's huge. So, I mean, it's big to people because they've been sending it in to us. Now, we've known about this summit that they're going to have at the UN, Vince, for a while. They announced it a couple of months ago that in June they're going to have this summit, and it's going to be between France and Saudi Arabia and some of the other Arab nations that surround Israel. But the important thing and some of the interesting things are the verbiage that's being used in these stories. I actually took a couple of different stories and put them side by side, and they were written by different people. And some of the things that were being said, it's interesting. So those are what I wanted to highlight, because this is coming up in June. So we're getting ready to see this summit come up. They're going to do it here in New York City at the UN building. And yes, Saudi Arabia is going to be one of the big ones at this conference. And so one of the quotes I wanted to share from this first article before we jump on our phone calls, and we are getting phone calls coming in, so if you want to be on the show, you better start calling right now. But a quote from Emmanuel Macron, Vince, says, "Our aim is to chair this conference with Saudi Arabia in June, where we could finalize," he's talking about finalizing, "the movement of mutual recognition by several parties." Now, those words there, recognize, finalize, several parties, all those things are interesting because of what we're about to read. But then he says, this is another quote from this article, "We want to involve several other partners and allies, both European and non-European, who are already who are ready to move in this direction, but who are waiting for France to make the first move," basically is what he's saying, because he's letting them know that, you know, a lot of people depending on what France does with this Palestinian state, they're going to wait. And so why is that interesting? And so if you watch the program all the time, most people are going to know that we know this peace treaty is coming because of Daniel 9:27. And a couple of things that Macron says in that article are mentioned in Daniel 9:27, like confirming the covenant, even though he didn't come right out and say we're going to confirm the covenant. He's talking about finalizing the agreement that Israel has right to exist in this land, as well as the Palestinians. And so that confirmation of the covenant, it also says that it's going to be with many different people. And he says they're using many different people for this summit that they're going to have in New York. So it's very interesting, Vince, the words that he's using and the things that they're saying. There's a little bit more to this article, but I was going to take a break and let you go ahead.
Well, you mentioned that he says specific things out of Daniel. Is he reading from the scriptures? Is he quoting? I know he was baptized in the Catholic Church. He's agnostic now, so for one of those reasons, we know he's not reading the Bible.
Right.
I don't know if it's the Catholic part or the agnostic part, but Is he actually reading, or is he just saying things and not realizing that he's saying it right from the Bible?
Yeah, I don't think that they have any clue, Vince, that they are talking about prophecy, and they're fulfilling prophecy as they're saying these things. I mean, we've watched so many different things be done, especially with even with our own nation, with Trump. I don't think that Trump knows taking us out of some of the UN policies and talking about the United States of America coming out of NATO and things like that. I don't think he has any idea that that's prophetic. I think that most of the ministers that Trump surrounds himself with they don't understand it, because they don't understand the prophecy. So even though he's doing these things and he's pulling this out, I don't think Trump knows what he's doing. I don't think Emmanuel Macron understands that he is saying things that are very prophetic as well.
All right. Well, do we want to talk about some of those things, or are we not ready for that yet?
Well, I mean, like, for instance, they're talking about normalizing everything with Israel, right? And so if we're doing that, what we're doing is we're pulling in the many, that the Antichrist, it says that the Antichrist is going to confirm, which confirm means to make stronger or agree with. So there's already an Abraham Accord set up that President Trump set up, and they're building off of this now. But what's happening is Emmanuel Macron sees himself as a very important figure in the world. And so that is one of those characteristics of the Antichrist. He's going to speak boldly, and he's going to say things, but he's also going to do things with flatteries. And so he's doing that, talking about to both sides. He's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth here about Israel and about the Palestinians, but he says that this is a key in other Middle Eastern countries who haven't yet confirmed that Israel has a right to exist. He says that these countries will do this. This is a step that many haven't taken, he said, but because of their diplomatic efforts, they're going to pull these countries in to this summit that they have in June. So that's interesting, because that is what the covenant is. The covenant that the Bible talks about is God gave Abraham a covenant and said, this is your land. And he said, from the river in Egypt to the great river Euphrates. And so everybody else has been refuting that ever since. Well, Emmanuel Macron says we're going to solidify this in these agreements, and we're going to make this understood and bring more people into it.
All right. So, is Emmanuel Macron the Antichrist?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Vince. Emmanuel Macron, we can't say yet if he is or not, but he's somebody that we keep an eye on. We watch because of these type of situations where he says the things he says, and he begins to do things like bringing these committees together and going to the UN, and they're going to do all these things. And so we'll just have to kind of watch, because as France comes up with other nations, Vincent, they're recognizing the Palestinians as a nation and Israel as a nation, and they both are occupying the same land. One of the things they're talking about is a two-state solution. So that two-state solution, Vince, is something that we've got to keep an eye on too, because we know we have scripture that has led us to believe that there will be a two-state solution, and the Palestinians will get what is known as Judea, Samaria, and what the world refers to as the West Bank. Because if they call it Judea, Samaria, then they've got to admit that it's in the history of the Israelites, and they don't want to do that, so they've changed it. It's kind of like global warming. Instead of saying global warming now, they say it's climate change. So they got to change things to be kosher with everybody that's involved and be politically correct. So they now call it the West Bank.
Well, you said this summit is in June, right?
Yes.
Now, yesterday, we had talked about the rapture and the Great Tribulation. Mm-hmm. We talked about some timing things. Now, when I start thinking about June, how in June, how much time will Donald Trump have left in office, roughly?
About 3.5 years.
I just find that interesting. I wanted to say that out loud. I don't know what it means, if it means anything. I just find it very interesting of the timing of all that. So take it for whatever it's worth.
There you go.
Are we ready to go to the calls?
Hey, I'm following your lead.
All right, well, we're going to go to the calls, but first, I saw that Pastor Josh Navarrete in the comments. He's the host of the Political Pulpit on Only Source, so make sure you give Pastor Josh Navarrete some love, one of our Only Source hosts. And by the way, if you agree with this statement, I want you to put it in the chat. Jesus is my only source. We say that a lot around here because we're looking to him, the author of our faith. He's the author and the finisher, and boy, we trust in him above everything else. It's not always easy to do. We're not acting like this is a no problem at all. Sometimes we have challenges and we face difficult situations, and we don't really know how we're going to make it through or where the help's going to come from, but we're looking to him, and that's why we say Jesus is our only source. That's part of why the name of our network is Only Source. So if you agree with that, if you try to live by that principle, put it in the chat. Jesus is my only source, and give Pastor Josh Navarrete some love, host of the Political Pulpit, available on Only Source while you're at it. We're going to start by start the show off with Louisiana. Randy is watching there. Randy, welcome to the Endtime Show.
Hey guys, I just first of all want to say I really appreciate you all taking your time to do this for us. Just to hear some spirit-led individuals to guide us and what we need to do. But listening to your conversation yesterday about the post-tribulation, I know there's a lot of scriptures that point to that within individual books of the Bible. I kind of look at it as a bigger, broader picture and look at the different events that happen. And it seems like of all the things that happened to the Israel people, both New and Old Testament, there was always a rescue from God, but there was always some kind of trouble or tribulation that rescued them out of, through Noah or the Assyrians, Babylonians, or whatever the case may be. So it always seems like, when you look at those events, it just seems like it would match up to what's going to happen at the end time. There's going to be trouble, a great falling away. Then that's when Jesus comes and does his rescue plan. And that's just what I see is what's going to happen at the end time.
Well, that's an excellent point, Randy. And also, I mean, one of the things that we try to point people to as well, I know that here in the United States, a lot of Christians think that we're special and that God is going to just take us out and not allow us to go through anything. We hear that all the time, and especially, well, why would the Lord beat his bride? But what we fail to remember, and it goes with what you're saying about Israel all through the Bible and how God did bring trouble on them, but God also delivered them from the trouble. The disciples, 11 of the 12 apostles died in tribulation. I mean, they died horrible deaths. And so, I mean, it's weird to me that we think that we're special, that God's not going to let us go through things, when we know that, I mean, Paul said when he was going through tribulation and troubles that he found it pure joy because it meant he was on the right track. He's doing the right thing for God. And we talked about yesterday about having a mindset of being in evangelism mode and not being in, okay, I'm about to be taken out of here so I can put my feet up and relax. We don't want people to do that. We want people to be on fire for Jesus and be spreading the gospel during the times that are ahead of us.
Correct. So just like what you had said, though, it seems like when the Israelites had trouble, though, it was brought on by themselves. It was like a judgment against man happening there, and God brought them out. And if it's true, it's the wrath of Satan that's going to happen, and the tribulation, the power of God that's going to pull us out. So it seems like that pattern is always coming about.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, we appreciate your call. Thanks so much for pointing that out. It's a pleasure chatting with you. God bless you. We do have open lines at 877-Endtime, 877-363-8463. Be sure to give us a call. It's Open Line Friday. We're going to talk about whatever you bring up today, and we have a few open lines, so give us a call right now. You'll most likely get on the show. Before we move any further, I want to remind you about three things that we love so much around here: Jesus, America, and a strong cup of coffee. Doug and I love that so much, and for years now we've been telling you about First Cup Coffee because they just get it. They're a Christian-owned Patriot coffee company roasting right here in Texas. And honestly, once you've had First Cup, there's no going back. They've got 11 different roasts, each one named after a specific piece of American history. Every cup hits a little bit different. It's bold, it's fresh, and it stands for something. And unlike the woke coffee chains that are more interested in politics than flavor, First Cup isn't pushing an agenda. Just really good, fresh roasted coffee shipped within days. not the stale stuff that's been sitting in the warehouse since the last election. So if you've been meaning to try it, if you're like many end-timers out there, you need to go do it now. Go to firstcup.com, use code Endtime, you get 10% off, and if you subscribe, they'll throw in another 10% off. Firstcup.com, and then use code Endtime today. Doug, that reminds me, Dave and Jana will be in Houston, Texas here in 2 weeks for a conference. Dave will be teaching his brand new lesson, America's Prophesied Future, and another lesson, Breaking Prophecy News, where he takes your questions right there live in front of everybody. So make plans to join Dave and Jana Robbins in Houston. You can go to endtime.com/events to get more information about that conference. The venue information's there, times, everything's available right there at endtime.com/events, or you can give us a call at 800-ENDTIME, and we'll help you out over the phone. The number to join the call, the show today is 877-ENDTIME. Doug, somebody put in the Nathaniel West put this in the chat on Facebook.
I know Nathaniel.
Oh, well, great.
Yeah.
He said, we need an open mic Friday. Vince Stegall unleashed with all levels of mainstream and conspiracy questions. Now, you must be a closet conspiracy theorist. They don't know this about you, Doug, but they said that with rapid fire with Doug and Dave, and it should be 2 hours.
Wow.
So I kind of
Man.
like that idea, except for I don't know that I could put all the things out there. I don't know if I want to talk about it on camera.
Well, and we probably don't want to talk about it in front of Dave. But Nathaniel, it's a great idea. Why don't you come down from Washington and come down to Texas again and be on the show with us, and you maybe can MC that. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Nathaniel lives up in Washington, up there in Washington State, close to where Tom and Lana were. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Never know.
I don't know that the end timers want it, Doug, so I guess we'll see what they say in the chat. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Let's find out. We're going to go to Indiana now. Larry is watching there. Larry, welcome to the End Time Show.
Hi.
Hi, Larry.
Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I'm a little late to the party from yesterday. The conversations that you were. But I have a real concern for the pre-tribulation rapture believers. I really think they're going to miss the greatest time for evangelism to reach out to their neighbors about the gospel of Jesus Christ, because they might be sitting in church and the pastor's going to say, no, you can take that mark. It's not the mark of the beast, because we're going to be raptured out of here before that happens. So I want to just make a few comments to those who believe the pre-tribulation rapture.
All right.
We can't dispute Jesus' own words. In Matthew 24:4, he says, don't be deceived. So is Jesus kidding? If we are pre-tribulation raptured out, we're not going to be here to be deceived. So that's one. It says in 13, it says, endure to the end. Why do we have to endure to the end if we are raptured out of here? This is my favorite one in 24:15. It says, when you see the abomination, when you see the Antichrist standing in the temple saying he is God, was Jesus kidding or was he lying? It says you're going to see it. Mm-hmm. Then in 24:15, this one you guys might not agree with, but I take it literally. It's talking about the Great Tribulation, and it says that he shortened the days, because if it went on 10 years, nobody would be alive. He shortened it to 3.5 for who? For the elect, it says. I thought we're not going to be here. Right. And in 42:46, it says concerning Jesus coming back, it says to watch, be ready. And guess what? In 46, it says you'll be blessed. You'll get a blessing for studying this and being aware of what's going on. And if you multiply that and go to Revelation 1:3, it says you'll be blessed for that. So you want two blessings? Why aren't the churches teaching the people right now?
Yeah.
Larry, are you campaigning for a show on Only Source? Have you always believed this way, or did something happen that changed your perspective?
No, this is funny because when I was 11 years old in the back of a Christian Reformed church on Sunday morning when the pastors were teaching, I was in Revelation as a little kid and was just fascinated. I'm 80 now, and I'm still fascinated.
Well, you're doing well, Larry. We appreciate your call and your insight and your encouragement. Love to get calls like that.
And we agree with everything you said, including the shortening of days. So we're on the same page with you, Larry.
Yeah, here's what I challenge the pastors that I run into, and it's hold on one second. Here's what I ask them. Okay, and we can challenge that to everyone that's listening right now. I want you to find a clear, verse-by-verse timeline without mystery, without wishful thinking, without doubt, without speculation that there is a pre-tribulation rapture. Because I can show them verse by verse when Jesus is going to come, just like what you guys say, and they can't dispute it. We give them a timeline. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're stepping on toes, Larry. No doubt about that. We appreciate your call. We appreciate how you've devoted yourself to the Scriptures and your study, and you're an inspiration. I appreciate hearing from another Hoosier as well. I grew up in Indiana, so great to hear from you, Larry. God bless you. Thank you so much for your call. And of course, yes, we do talk about the timing of the rapture on occasion here, but what's most important above everything else is that you are ready. It doesn't matter if you're pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, or if you're one of those folks that I highlighted yesterday and you say you're pan-trib, you'll just be here and it'll pan out however it pans out. You need to be ready. So go to endtime.com/reborn. Make sure you've been born again, like the disciples described it in the New Testament, in the book of Acts. You'll see what it says there about being born again, and you need to make sure you are ready, regardless of when you think the rapture is going to happen. So go there today. We're going to go down to Texas now. Brian's watching there. Brian, welcome to the Endtime Show.
Much. I want to first say you guys are awesome. Y'all are my heroes, and I've got money on a couple of you fellas being the two witnesses of Revelation.
Oh, boy. So you got my attention with the money talk, Brian. I got to be honest, but I didn't know you were going there with it.
No, I'm kidding. I don't gamble, but anyway, who knows? I guess we'll have to see. My question is, Brother Baxter has been such an inspiration to my life, and I believe it just like you guys do. And I was asked a question the other day I couldn't really answer, and I thought, well, I will ask the professionals. And but the question was in Daniel 7:4, where it talks about the lion with eagle's wings. The comment was made that it kind of sounds like, at least in some translations, that the lion may be the thing that was lifted up rather than the eagle's wings. And I got to reading several, different translations, and I was like, I guess I kind of see where they're coming from. I'm not saying I agree with them. Yeah, it really makes sense that America's the eagle's wings and so forth. And so I thought, well, I wonder how Endtime would, answer a question like that. Maybe Brother Baxter's run up against that. So anyway, that's my question, and I will take my question off the air, I suppose. So God bless you.
Well, thank you very much. We have run into that a few times, and actually, I don't think that I could pull it up right now to read it verbatim of what I have, but I do have a response for that because grammatically we can prove it, but we can also, we can explain. Let me see. I think I maybe just pulled it up. We can understand that the Bible's talking about the wings being that's given the heart of man, and it's lifted up on its feet as a man, because our other symbol, our national symbol, is Uncle Sam, for one thing. If you remember during World War II, the campaign posters to get people to enlist and to be patriotic was Uncle Sam pointing his finger at you and saying, I want you. And so that's one thing that we can refer to throughout history. We've seen that. And then also the heart of the man being given to it. we are one of the only nations that during those times when we would devastate a country through war, or if there was famine, or if there was destruction from natural occurrences, we would be the first ones there to respond to help. And that's where the heart of a man is given to it. Maybe when we come back from the break, I can read grammatically why, because we've got Libby on our staff. So.
There you go. We'll be right back after this break.
A reminder of the breaking news this hour. At least 22 people are reported to have died in a strike in Gaza.
The rise of Islam.
Trying to bring answers for so many families desperately.
Is the Israel-Hamas-Iran conflict World War III? So let's talk about the four horsemen. What do these horses symbolize? These are the four spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. In the end time, the true people of God will not be weak, anemic, and defeated. These prophesied events are revealing we are quickly approaching the time of the Great Tribulation right now.
Now streaming on OneSource and available to order at endtime.com/screen. Go to endtime.com/screen or call 800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the End Time Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. It's Open Line Friday, so we're taking your calls. The number to join us is 877-ENDTIME. All lines are full right now, but if you keep calling, when one opens up, you'll get through. So do that, and we'll do our best to get to every single caller today. Doug, before the break, you were talking about Daniel 7:4 and expounding on that, but that music always catches us by surprise, and you were cut off a bit. So I think we want to finish that thought before we move forward.
Yeah, so just to kind of bring everybody up to speed so they understand what we're talking about, the verse says, the first was like a lion, and it had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand on the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. That's Daniel 7:4. Well, in the vision, Daniel sees a lion, and it had eagle's wings. He's watching in the vision, and those wings are plucked off from the lion. We know that the lions is a symbol for the country of Great Britain. And after the wings were plucked, the wings were lifted up off the earth. It says it, okay? And the wings made to stand on the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. The wings, which we know is the United States. Our symbol is the eagle, and the eagle's wings refer to our country. This actually refers to the birth of the United States of America and the breaking out of Great Britain. But here's how we can look at this, okay? In the verse, the last noun used is wings, referring to the eagle's wings. They're plucked from the lion, and it says it was lifted up from the earth. The singular pronoun, and this comes from an English scholar, not from me. This is somebody who studied the language and knows literature, because I don't. But the singular pronoun it always refers back to the last noun that was mentioned. In this case, the noun is the wings, so it refers back to the wings, not to the lion. And then, for example, I bought a house yesterday. It is beautiful. What's beautiful? The house. The it refers back to the house. Or another example, I went on vacation to Hawaii. It is so beautiful there. What is? It. It refers to Hawaii. Hawaii is beautiful. So those are kind of some simple illustrations, but you use that same rule. So when it talks about, the last thing it talks about was the wings of the eagle, and then it says it was lifted up off the earth, and the heart of a man was given to it, stood on its feet as a man. That refers back to it. It is the wings of the eagle. So there you go. Hope that helps.
There you go. All right, Doug. that caller also mentioned that he had money on one of us being the two witnesses, and I'll go ahead and say it's not me.
It's not me either.
And Judy Prater in the Facebook chat, she said, would love to hear Doug for 2 hours. I think he really has a calling on his life. And I agree with Judy. And I love Doug Norvell. And if you love Doug Norvell like as much as me, or it just maybe a lot, put it in the comments. I love Doug Norvell. Let's show Doug some love today. I haven't been able to do that in a long time, and I'm not going to say the other word, which you guys know I want to say.
Well, I'll say this. We're all called. Everybody's called, right? So we just got to make ourselves chosen by being faithful and following Jesus. So I'll take that and say thank you for the compliment. It's a compliment, and I can take a compliment. I don't like them a lot, but I can take one. But we're all called. The Lord calls all of us, and we have to choose to follow him. So.
Well, Doug, I wanted to take a second here because I know we talk about AI on this show, and my friend, I think he's my friend. I thought he was my friend until he sends me this saying that he asked ChatGPT to roast me.
Yeah.
And you got mentioned in this roast by ChatGPT.
Which is crazy.
ChatGPT knows your name, Doug.
It's kind of weird.
But it says Vince Stegall, the man, the myth, the perfectly gelled hair, which I think it scanned, went into the archives on the internet to find me with hair, that even the tribulation can't shake. This dude could be narrating the rise of the Antichrist while sipping a caramel macchiato like, and then he shall confirm the covenant with many. But first, let's talk about these dairy-free creamer options. Vince has that rare ability to make global war, economic collapse, and demonic spirits sound like a midweek youth group update. The world's burning, but Vince is calm, like too calm. Bro, are you okay? Blink twice if Babylon has you. He gets so close to the camera when he's passionate, you'd swear he's trying to enter your soul through your screen. Chill, Vince. I just tuned it in for the Red Heifer update, not a prophetic exorcism. And let's be real, every time he says, Doug, break it down for us, you know it's code for I skimmed the verse, but Doug actually did the homework. I'm guilty, Doug. Vince is the only guy who could witness the Sixth Trumpet War and be like, let's circle back after this brief message from our sponsors.
So many of those things are so dead on.
I laughed out loud for a while when I read that.
That is
because
pretty fun.
It's quite scary, actually. But it's Open Line Friday. We better get to the calls, Doug. I know I don't want to leave people hanging. So we're going to go to Texas. Let's go to Jay there. Jay, welcome to the Endtime Show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, I came across this newspaper article this morning. It's about a company that's in Austin that's building portable nuclear power reactors. They're designed to power the AI centers, the
data centers.
The data centers, yeah. And I was thinking, wow, you always think of a nuclear reactor as being taking years to build and concrete lined, and it's takes years to build. But anyway, I thought this is crazy that a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, Jay, how the
field.
I don't know how the nuclear reactor part of it comes into play. I'm not that smart, but I do have a gentleman who's connected to Endtime and to the church, our local church, that he is very intelligent on this situation, and we have talked about these data centers. We have a huge one right here, probably, Vince, about 5 miles from Endtime.
It's like 20 right here. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Because one of the things those are connected to, Jay, are the 15-minute cities that they're trying to put in place all over the place. And these data centers are going to be the hub for those things. So if maybe they use these reactors to run those things. I mean, that would make sense. I saw a video yesterday that blew my mind of a general from Space Force, and he was talking openly to a crowd of people, and he made the comment that we can pull power down from space, that we're used to taking an electrical outlet and plugging a plug into there to generate electricity. He says that we have the capability right now to pull that energy from space. So I don't know what he is talking about, but the new ways that we have to power things here, maybe all of that's connected. Who knows? But these data centers, we are very familiar with those in this area because they are coming up and they're huge buildings, and that's what they're for, is these 15-minute cities.
Well, it says here they're currently building a 200 megawatt data center in Aveline.
Wow.
And this company, I don't know how you pronounce it, Allo, their ultimate plan is to build a 50 megawatt electric power center to power these data centers. So I thought in the future maybe every home will have their own nuclear power center in their own home.
Yeah,
if they miniaturize it, it'll be maybe Elon Musk can have a nuclear power plant in every Tesla.
And he probably will.
That's hard to comprehend, Jay, but I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. I did look up the website and shared it with Doug while we've been talking on the phone, so thank you for bringing that up. We'll have to take a closer look, and who knows what that could lead to as far as a topic for the End Time show. So thank you for pointing that out. God bless you. I hope you have a great weekend. We're going to go on up to Kentucky now. Renee is watching there. Renee, welcome to the End Time show.
Praise the Lord, Brother Vince, you and Brother Doug. Hey, Brother Vince, I just came in at the end of something you were saying. You said to Doug something about how much longer? You kept thinking about June, and you said, then how much longer is it for President Trump for this time frame? And he's like 3.5 years. What was that you were talking? What did you say before that, Brother Vince?
Well, Emmanuel Macron is meeting with the Saudi Arabia, and they're talking about peace in the Middle East, and they're talking about recognizing Palestine as a state and a two-state solution. And it's in June. So this meeting is in June. And I was just pointing out, I'm not saying anything because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just pointing out that it's interesting that also happens to be about the time frame of that President Donald Trump will have 3.5 years left in office. That's all I'm saying.
Being who you are, Brother Vince, and your giftings, you would have plugged into that. I understand it now.
That's what it's about. I appreciate you calling and asking.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
All
Renee.
right, God bless you, Renee. We're going to go over to New Jersey now. Stephanie's watching there. Stephanie, welcome to the End Time show.
Hi, thanks for having me once again. God bless
Thank you for calling.
My brothers in Christ, and God bless your families and your staff.
Thank you.
I have a comment and then I have a question. So my comment is, here in New Jersey, in my hometown of Patterson, New Jersey, the mayor has declared Patterson, the city of Patterson, to be the Palestinian capital in America.
We just talked about you actually recently, or your city.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So my question is, how will the rise of Israel affect us here in America, and what role, if any, will it play in the one world order or the beast system?
Now, you said Israel, but I think you mean Islam, right?
Islam.
Islam, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Islam's going to be very much a part of that. Of course, you know our teaching about the four horsemen and Revelation 6, and David's done an excellent study on that, the green horse in World War III. Islam is going to be very much involved in that, we believe, because Islam is one of the countries that can field an army of 200 million men, and that's the number that is recognized there in Revelation in the sixth trumpet war. So when we look at this and we see the rise of this, it's one of the things that with open borders, it's allowed so many different people to come in here, and we don't even know who all's in this country. And one of the programs that we talked about is that they have put this capital right here for their recruiting agents for jihad in the United States, and we know there's sleeper cells that came in across the border. We covered that all during the Biden administration about these sleeper cells that were coming in, and they're actually training here in the United States. And so I think that they're going to play a huge role in at least the sixth trumpet war. We know that there's going to be Islamic nations also involved in the Battle of Armageddon there at the last trump. And so we're seeing these things that are happening even here in the United States, but we've watched Europe really be inundated with it, and that has kind of been our warning call. We covered the story about your hometown a couple of weeks ago when we talked about what's happening here with a 400-acre area that they're building a Sharia city in Texas.
Stephanie, we've got to go. There's a break, but stay on hold. We would love to gift you with a subscription to Only Source. So please stay on hold. You'll be able to get on there and watch everything we have about Islam and what's happening, not just in the United States, but around the world. So we'll get your email, set you up with that. Don't go anywhere. We have one more segment left. We'll be right back after this break.
The Roman government controlled the world. So many people were looking for a different Messiah, a rescuing Messiah. Remember the story of the woman at the well. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. And Jesus said unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. Jesus very clearly stated that he was God and that he was the Messiah. We're even more blessed because we haven't seen those things, but yet we believe. When Jesus cried out, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? He knew every one of these prophecies had to be fulfilled. He said, it is finished.
Now streaming on one source and available to order at endtime.com/revealed. Go to endtime.com/revealed or call 800-ENDTIME.
Doug Norvell. Don't forget, you can stream our brand new series, Grace, on Only Source. Go to endtime.com/grace. 8 episodes there from Dr. Jim Littles. You can start streaming it today. You can binge watch it all weekend if you want. We don't recommend binge watching anything really. You need to stay involved with your family and your local community. But nonetheless, you can get on there and watch all 8 episodes as fast as you would like. Highly recommended. Endtime.com/grace is the place to go for that. Doug, we've got just a little bit of time and we've got a full bank of callers, so we better get straight to them. We're going to stay here in Texas. Craig is watching there. Craig, welcome to the End Time Show.
Thank you so much, guys, for allowing me to come on your show. I've admired Brother Vince, I should say, for a long time, and Brother Doug for quite some time, and it's just an honor to be able to talk to you guys for the first time.
Well, we're honored to talk to you, Craig.
First-time caller, long-time listener.
Glad to have you.
I want to ask a question, and I don't mean for it to be rhetorical.
Okay.
But concerning the segmentation of Revelation, I do not understand how that some can read the book of Revelation but yet not grasp the specific wording of the Scripture. I've always felt like and I'll say this cautiously, but the denominational world seems to focus on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and skip the book of Acts and go to Romans. And I'm afraid the apostolic world has done the same with the book of Revelation. So with that in mind, what do you think would be the cause for individuals not grasping those specifics in the book of Revelation?
How much time you got, Craig?
As much time as you need.
Well, Doug, I don't really know where to start except for similarly with many scriptures, people have been taught a certain way and they never dig in and figure it out for themselves. There are Christians all across the United States and every religion that never open up their Bible and read it for themselves. They just go with whatever's taught. And some of them get passion. Of course, some of them do study and they still don't agree. But nonetheless, I think maybe my first highlight would be that people just don't really get in there and study. And then many that do don't approach it self-honestly. They're not willing to change. And so they open up the Word and start reading it with they've already decided what it means, and they're not willing to learn and change. And of course, we see that in far more than just Bible prophecy. But that's where I start. I don't know where you start, Doug.
I think that it comes down to a fear factor, and I say that, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're saying that Christians have fear. But here's the thing, when we're taught something our whole life, and we're taught a rainbow and unicorn type of philosophy about it, just to make it simple for everybody to understand, that, you know, we're not going to have to go through any kind of tribulation or troubles, that God loves us so much he's just going to zap us out of here right before all this happens. It's a whole lot easier to believe that, Craig, than it is to study for yourself and go, wait a second, I see something different. Because really, the first time I ever heard Pastor Baxter on the radio, he was talking about the 7 trumpets, and I'm listening to him, and I've never heard what he's saying before in my life. And I'm going, wait a second, he's saying these trumpets have begun to sound. And that put me on a course where I wanted to know more. Now, the thing is, we know that the scriptures tell us that when we have the Holy Spirit, that Spirit will lead us into all truth. And I think that a lot of people, especially when you talk about apostolics, I think that they're afraid to get too deep into it, because the Spirit, if they study hard enough, is going to lead them into all truth, and they're going to find out things that are uncomfortable when they don't want to know about. And so they would rather believe, you know, the unicorn and rainbow side of it than to get in it and see where it's at. So that's kind of how I feel, because I think that was me at one time. I wanted to believe I'm not going to have trouble in my life. God's going to take care of me, and he is going to take care of us. We have that promise, but we're going to go through some things. But, you know, like we talked about yesterday, Craig, on the program, is this is evangelism time. The Bible says we're going to be strong and do exploits. Who doesn't want to do that? You know, who doesn't want to be strong and do exploits? And so that's kind of my take on it.
You know, and I'll close with this, you know, with what you said and what Vince said. You know, the Bible obviously says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed. But that word workman there is not a very light word or casual word. I think the Lord expects us to, you know, search out the scriptures. And that applies as well to the book of Revelation or Daniel.
Absolutely.
But, well, I thank you guys for your input. And
Craig, you sound like a preacher.
Yes, you do.
Well, we could talk about that offline.
You made me nervous with that. I'll close with this thing, because that usually means there's 20 more minutes left. So
you can bring the musicians up.
Ushers aren't coming yet.
Appreciate your call, Craig. God bless you. So
much.
Good to hear from you. All right, Doug, we've got to keep going. We're going to Missouri now. Jameer's watching there. Jameer, welcome to the Endtime Show.
Hello. Thank you for having me this Friday. Love you guys at Endtime. Also, I love the staff, whoever made the thumbnail of Doug, you know.
I hadn't seen the dates, but I can only imagine.
I had a question in regards to the Revelation 9 and 10 about the mark of the beast, and people accepting it, and they won't be able to, you know, be saved. And I was watching a Neuralink video, and they talked about how they did this experiment on the monkeys. Mm-hmm. And they was unable to discern up and down or left to right, because they was deceiving the monkeys. Wondering if you thought that the reason why people will not be able to be saved after taking the mark of the beast, because they somehow figured out how to hack the conscious or soul with this type of device.
Well, that's a great question, and really because of what Scripture says, I can't really answer with good confidence saying, yeah, this could absolutely be, because that's one of those things that we have to kind of just guess on. And you're right, with the technology and the things that's going to be one of the leading causes, I think, that's going to deceive people. But, you know, there's going to be a choice there, because it says that you'll have to worship the beast. And so there's a choice. Whenever I think about the mark of the beast, one of the things that I look at is the 3 Hebrew boys in you know, Daniel chapter 3, where Nebuchadnezzar had the statue, and at certain times when the music played, you had to bow down or face death. I think the mark of the beast is going to be like that. We're going to know that, because it says that we have to worship the image of the beast. And there's going to be times when they're going to put this image up, whether that's going to come through the chip or if it's going to be AI driven and we're going to see it actually physically on the earth. But people are going to be denying that mark or worship, and they're going to lose their heads for it. So as far as choosing to get that chip or mark or whatever it is, because we don't even know what the mark is going to be yet, but people will choose to do that, and they'll choose it because they're being deceived the same way we're being deceived right now. I mean, this is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is true, and we're late in the program.
You got my attention, Doug.
But, I mean, when you think about it, we're manipulated right now through media. I mean, they told us that there was a safe, effective way to fight a virus, and people lined their cars up in parking lots of Walmart to get this thing that we knew nothing about injected into our body. And so the mark of the beast is going to be like that. They're going to make it seem like you have to have this or you will not survive, and people will line up their cars to get it. And so that's why we have to be so adamant about we've got to watch these things, because we're the watchers. We're the ones on the wall that are going to have to tell everybody, look, this is what we've been talking about. Do not take this. And so when the vaccine came out, a lot of people were contacting us saying, is this the mark? And we told them no, because there's certain things that are going to happen before the mark of the beast comes out. But look at how the world lined up. And now look at the things that we're finding out, looking back at that time, and people were manipulated, and some people died because of it, and others are very sick because of it. And so I think that's how the mark of the beast is going to be. There's going to be so much buildup to it that they're going to make you want to take that thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Jameer, you seem like one of those guys that would be willing to stand on the wall and holler about, this is what we've been warning you about. So that makes me want to give you access to Only Source. So you're already a subscriber there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, maybe next time. Don't let it expire, though. Stay on there. What about, are you a book reader? Do you like reading books?
Yes, I do.
Do you have Understanding the End Time yet, the book?
I don't, but I have the DVD series.
Well, I would be honored to send you a copy of the book if you'll take it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll stay on hold. We'll get that set up so we can send that out to you. Probably not by the end of today because it's wrapping up and it's Friday, and I don't know if we can get it to the post office in time, but we'll get it mailed out by Friday or by Monday for sure. Jameer, stay on hold. We'll get your contact info so we can get that sent out to you. God bless you. Thank you so much. We're going to go to Idaho now. Jimmy's watching there. Jimmy, welcome to the End Time Show.
Yeah.
Hi, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I guess maybe I should tell you a little bit about myself before we begin here.
Well, just warn you, we are coming up on the end of the show. I don't want to have to cut you off at the end, so we're running out of time. I don't know how much you plan to share. I just want to make you aware of that.
Okay, well, let's just go to Babylon.
Okay.
Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, abominations of the earth. People have been trying to understand that since it's been written down, actually. Most people think it's Rome, and they associate it with a pulpit. And there's a key to understanding the passage of Scripture. With all secrets that God is hidden, He always provides a key. The key to understanding the secret city is in the last verse of chapter 17. It says that this great city reigneth over the kings of the earth. Cities don't reign over anything. It's the person in charge of the city that's reigning. So who's reigning at the time of the end? That'd be the man of sin, the guy that says that he's the God of the earth. The kings of the earth will give their power to him. He will rule them from Jerusalem. Jerusalem is Babylon.
All right, Jimmy, we appreciate you sharing that perspective. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, we're up on the end here, so we've got to cut you off. Doug, I know I would love to talk more with Jimmy because obviously we don't agree with him on that. Our regulars know that. Can you respond real quickly as we're running out of time here?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's several clues that tell us who Mystery Babylon is. And remember, that is a religious entity. That's part of what that is telling us about, because we've proven from Revelation 18, when it's talking about this, it says the light of her candle will no longer shineth in her. Well, Revelation chapter 1 tells us that candles represent churches. And so now in Revelation 18, it says Mystery Babylon's candle no longer shineth, and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride is no longer found in her. We're talking about the Roman Catholic Church and Rome itself. There's a lot more clues to that, but we know that Israel, Jerusalem is not Babylon.
And we have hours of content on that specific subject. We can't possibly cover it in just a few minutes, but we do appreciate Jimmy Collin sharing his perspective. And we encourage all of you to go to OnlySource, go to endtime.com, watch.osn.tv. You can search Mystery Babylon and find all the content we have available. There's so much there available for free. And it's there because of partners like you that give every single month at endtime.com/give. You're making a huge difference helping us expand God's kingdom. So consider becoming a partner. Go to endtime.com/give. And of course, endtime.com for thousands of hours of content for free. We'll see you right back here on Monday. God bless you.